hour behind. But why do we air attack scoring, or why do we air attack scoring this era, but don't do the same for different stats in other eras? Basketball changes each era, so no, the stats and the records aren't universally equal, but the records are what they are.
Well, wouldn't that be because, like, for example, with I understand what he's saying. So as a bucket getter, I'm going to tax you because we can't put hands on guys, and it was less difficult for you to score. We got to be able to tax big guys because back then the offense ran through you. So there's a reason why you were scoring all the points you were scoring, because you got the ball the most than everybody. But my rebuttal to that is, well, not all big guys score, just like in this era, even though there was a freedom of movement and you couldn't put hands on guys, not everybody was getting buckets like James Harden. Not everybody was getting buckets like Steph Curry. That wasn't going on with everybody.
Yeah, I mean, things got to get put into context, but I don't know. Kind of like how I said earlier, it's in any generation, if you're scoring 30 a night, it's fantastic. Now, like when it comes to rebounding and assists and stuff like that, we can air tax it, but once again, if you average a double-digit assist in any era, that's ridiculous.
Yeah, how are you air attacking rebounding?
A league that had more possessions and lower field goal percentages is going to have way more rebounds than a league that has less possessions and higher field goal percentages. It's why all the rebound per game leaders outside of Moses and Dennis Rodman pretty much played in the 60s.
Right. See, I could dig that. I could dig that, Mars. My thing is, and you know what? I think maybe it's my problem because I take it like a negative context to it when people say inflated or tax. Maybe I just hear it and I think negatively, because I still feel like, well, if we're running up and down the court more, whatever, it's not like that's just a different. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard to do that. It's hard. It's hard to do that. So it's like, yeah, there might have been more possessions, but that doesn't mean that I should be. It should be called. I have inflated rebounds. You know what I'm saying? I'm still grabbing the boards. So that's my maybe that's my problem, because I look at it as it's like a negative.
And we also had guys, to your point, Mars, where you had a lot of possessions in the 60s and the 70s. So you had guys pulling down 20 plus rebounds in a game. But you also had that going on in previous eras too, to this one. I mean, after the 60s, I mean, Andre Drummond was pulling down 15 rebounds. DeAndre Jordan was pulling down 15 rebounds. Rudy was pulling down 15, 16 rebounds, right? And I think Rudy led the league that one year. I think he averaged like 14 rebounds a game.
Almost,
he might. Almost 15
yeah,
rebounds.
14.7.
Yeah, 14. He averaged almost 15 rebounds a game. So, I mean, when you're pulling down rebounds like that, and then you relate it to other eras, even though the era isn't as fast, because the 2010s, I mean, they didn't have as many possessions as they did in the 60s. I mean, I still think I won't tax that other era, because to be honest with you, Ox, you know, you're a big guy, Ox. Pulling out 22 rebounds is a big ass deal. I don't care how fast you're playing. That's hard to do. Just like scoring 30. It's hard to do. Even whether you're playing fast, you're playing slow, that is hard to do.
It's definitely difficult. It's just understanding that as the league changes, box score numbers are gonna be easier to get in some areas, harder to get in other areas. Some numbers, like when the league ran a certain way, it was easier to get certain statistics. When the league runs the way it does now, it's easier for like perimeter players to get triple doubles. It's just like there's ebbs and flows to the game. So it's just like understanding that not box score numbers aren't one-to-one comparisons. Kobe's 35 isn't the same as MJ's 37, which is the same as James Harden's 36. They're all different in their own way. All of them are great. There's never going to be a season where someone averages 35 and it's just mid. So like that's not going to happen. Like some people tell it that's what Luke is doing right now. But like point is, all of these things are going to be amazing. It's just they're not all the same, despite what like you say all the time. Like someone averaging more points doesn't make you a better scorer. And that's because there's more context to it than just raw points per game. It's the same thing across eras. Someone averaging more points per game historically doesn't mean you're a better scorer than someone else, or someone averaging the most assists of all time. Like Trae Young, I think, is second all time in career assists per game, maybe third behind John Stockton and Magic Johnson. Mm-hmm. That doesn't mean he's the third best passer ever. He might be, have whatever conversation you want, but that doesn't mean he is, because he averaged more assists than a guy like LeBron James, for example. So like it's just the numbers don't necessarily tell everything, but they are a record of events, which is like why the lists aren't going to change. The all-time leading scorers are going to be LeBron, Kareem, Karl Malone, etc. Even if LeBron's era was easier to score in, but that doesn't change the record books. It's just something that people can acknowledge when we're comparing LeBron versus Michael Jordan as a scorer, for example. It's just,
which I think is interesting. You brought that point up, Mars, about the triple double logic, because even though we do live in an inflated era, I mean, it's not as easy as people think it is to get a triple double, and I don't understand why. Even though we do live in an inflated era, why guys aren't doing it more? Even though people discredit
I do think it's a little bit easier. I think it's a little bit easier because the guys that are getting a triple double is usually the guys who got what the hell, Ron? But the guys that's getting a triple double are usually the guy. What the fuck is going on?
We're in the Matrix. Don't forget, I just rubbed my hands together. He's making a point,
right.
Ron.
Anyways, but the guys I think that usually get the triple doubles a lot of times is usually the guys with probably the most usage. As far as like, and I don't know, that's just me just making an inference based on what I see when I'm watching the game. Like guys like Jokic, guys like Luka, guys like who else get triple doubles?
Russ still getting triple doubles today.
Russ, Josh Giddey. Who else get more? I know we missing some more guys.
Sabonis.
I mean, yeah, Danny Avdia gets triple double, but like for reference, like you go back like 10, 15 years ago, LeBron led the NBA with 4 triple doubles over the course of a whole season.
Yeah.
Damn.
Russ this year has 4.
Yeah. Damn.
So it's just like, and it's just like it's easier now to get triple doubles with like the usage that these guys have. Longer rebounds mean perimeter players are going to get more rebounds just by.
So I wouldn't cap it.
No, I said it before you, but yeah, we're on the same page. It's just easier to accrue these type of numbers when the offense runs through you. So that's going to be the points are like whatever, but the assists, the offense is running through you, and then the rebounds, there's more long rebounds, so the perimeter players can get rebounds, and then you got guys like Jokic and Sabonis who are being used as hubs within an offense. They're getting the dribble, handoff, assists, and all that stuff. So like you're going to have more games. I think the way the assist stat is measured is interesting, but like so like it's just easier now to get triple doubles, even though they had guys like there's no reason why we can look at the 2012 season and say Rondo was number 1 in the triple doubles that year. He had 6. Everyone else, the next best on the leaderboard, 1.
Yeah.
Like that's ridiculous. I mean, Rondo had 6. The rest of the league, no one had more than 1 the whole season. And there was 12 people.
And that was like incredible.
There was 18 triple doubles that season. There was 18.
Yeah.
Jokic this year already has 16, and he hasn't even played in like 3 weeks or 2 weeks. I don't know when he actually went out. Like he already has 16, which is damn near more than the whole NBA had in 2012. So like it's different.
I also say this all the time. You know, when people be like, because I'll be talking about how Luka. I'll say that Luka isn't he doesn't really want to pass the ball. He's a good passer. He just doesn't really want to. He's more of a scorer first. People be like, How is he don't want to, but he averaged 8.5 assists? And I'm like, yeah, the motherfucker got the ball all game. You supposed to have those type of numbers when you got the ball all game. Like, what else are you supposed to do? You dribbling it all game long. You know how easy it is to, in the way they calculate assists? You can pass to somebody can go between the legs, front crossover, step back, hezzy, get to the basket. They say that's an assist. Like,
I've been
not stretching it.
No, assists do be going crazy. I'll be watching some players assists. I'm like, God damn, like it's just interesting to see what they classify as an assist, what they don't. I don't know, but just box score numbers in general, like they're probably easier to accrue nowadays. But it doesn't mean you're a worse player or a better player. It just means maybe we should stop just PRAing everyone to death. And,
I agree. I think it's a way. I think it's a way to bring back some of the core fundamentals on how the game was. But I get everybody wants to, prolong the game and make the game, progress the game or whatever that may be. But I think it's some things that we can do to clean up the game. I think it'll still be interesting. I don't know about y'all. It could just be me, but I don't think a game 145 to 141, I don't think that's an interesting game, by the way. Like, I just don't think that's very, very interesting. And a lot of people
gave up 130.
I mean, it depends. I mean, I think it can be an interesting game. I'd have to watch the game to know how
it can be, but not all the time. Like, we getting games in the 120s too much. Like, I prefer the game when it's hard and when the stakes are high and when it's intense. I don't care. It don't have to be an 80 scoring game, but can we get back to the game being difficult? Like, can the game be difficult to score? I don't want it to be easier to score now.
We can't do that, Jordan. The reason why we can't do that is because that's why ratings were down. That's why they made scoring what it is now, because they wanted to get ratings up. People care about scoring. People don't want to see 89, 85 games.
I don't want it to be 89, 85, but I don't think people want to see that. 140, 130s. I don't think people want to see
actually, people want to see that. That's why ratings are what they are. People want to see the long ball.
People want to see that in what country?
It's not really possible. With the way the 3-point shot is used nowadays, the emphasis on analytics, you're not going to get offenses that aren't that efficient anymore. It's just not possible. Like, you have low scoring games if teams shot 7 threes. Like, you'd have those games.
Yeah,
but
it's
impossible nowadays.
But if they allow defenses to put hands on you, like I don't want hand checking to be back as far as like to where you can just grab. But I do want to see more contact. I do want to see the defense be able to be a little bit more physical, because we have some guys that I think that can really defend in the NBA. But the shit that Denny Avdija do, and what's crazy is he even said it. I initiate the contact. I'm aggressive. And it's like, brother, like, you are exposing what this shit is. Like, I'm really watching the game. Like, I rewatched the Blazers game. They call some bullshit ass fouls on Reed Shepherd. Like, Reed Shepherd is literally just going with him, and he barreling to Reed Shepherd, and it's a foul. And it's like, yo, how can we stop that? If I put hands on you on the perimeter, like, can I at least put a hand on you to make sure you're not going nowhere? But that's what I'm saying as far as that. Like, the free throws and the possessions, all to me is catered to the offensive player, which is obviously, cool. But interesting basketball is a good defensive basketball game. Like, I want to see a guy like Scotty Barnes defend. I want to see a guy like Amin Thompson defend. I want to see guys like McDaniels like do shit. Like, I want to see that. I don't necessarily want to see everybody just go out there. We got motherfuckers coming in on two-way deals scoring 25 and shit like that. Nothing against those guys. Those guys can play. But all I'm saying is, let's make this game more defensive, chill. Like, I think that's too.
I think it is. I just think that the problem that we have is that it gets disregarded. Like, we all hear, yo, these guys aren't playing defense. These guys are soft. Yes, these guys are playing defense, but because we have so many awesome offensive players in the game today, because we have so many skilled players in the game today, because we have so many bucket getters in the game today, and because the rules in terms of defense, not being able to put hands on guys as much as you were able to, not being able to body up a guy as much as you were able to, not being able to be as physical, that does give the offensive player in particular, an advantage to be able to score. So, I mean,
how many defensive player of the years will Rudy Gobert have if perimeter defenders was able to be physical? Like, at this point, I feel like it's almost allotted to Rudy Gobert to win a defensive player. He probably gonna win it again this year, by the way. But to me, it's almost allotted for guys like that to win, because, like, you don't really see like the art of a real defensive guard anymore. Now, I know Marcus Smart won the award, but you don't really get to see, like, I like Scotty Barnes on defense, but Scotty Barnes to me ain't gonna have a chance on defense, a defensive player of the year because of Rudy Gobert. But if you change the rules and let Scotty be physical, you know how much water he will shut off from your stars? He's shutting that shit off.
He's trying to tell people about Asar Thompson, but people know.
And Asar Thompson too. Like, you know how, but even that, Mars, do you know how much they will shut your number one stars down if
he wasn't getting cool for them ticky-tack fouls like he was on Jalen Brunson in the playoffs?
Yes, bro. Like, bro, he's shutting that shit down, bro. But we don't get to see that. Like, we are like, we getting psyoped into believing like, oh, can't nobody guard anybody. I hate when they say that shit. Can't nobody guard anybody, but they don't apply the context. Yeah, because you can't touch them. Yeah, because you can't.
It's definitely harder to guard players nowadays with the rules in place. I agree with you. I just don't. I've been on team call these offensive fouls for years. Idea that
Mars, you've convinced me on that side, Mars.
The idea that you can just lower your shoulder into a defender's chest to square with you, and that's a defensive foul.
It's crazy.
Makes no sense. It's never made sense to me. I've been very strong in opposition to that for a very long time. But when you look at, like, historically, to your point about the DPOY awards,
I mean, obviously, it always
the early years, it was a couple guards: Sidney Moncrief, Michael Cooper, Michael Jordan, Alvin Robertson. You got Gary Payton. We'll call Ron Artest for the sake of the conversation, a guard. And then you get Kawhi. And then you get Marcus Smart. That's really it. Everyone else is bigs. So like it's always been a big man awards.
But I'm saying that
you
I'm
can
saying that
acknowledge
too.
the great perimeter defenders.
But I'm saying that too because I'm also saying like the bigs back then, like also when they were winning, the bigs a lot of times the game was played in the post. The game was played to where, like you said, the offense ran through the post a lot of times. If the game is played on the perimeter now, it's not played through the post no more. So how aren't these defensive guards not even like really? You can't even really consider them if the game is played on the perimeter majority of the time. So how are they not able to get that chance?
Well, here's a question for you. Why is it so impossible for Scottie to win Defensive Player of the Year over Rudy Gobert? The Raptors are a better defensive team, and they, in my opinion, have a worse defensive personnel. The difference is Scottie Barnes versus Rudy Gobert. The Raptors are a better defense. They have almost identical team records. Why is it impossible?
I agree with you, Penn, but I agree with you, Penn, but I'm gonna just ask you this: do you legitimately think Scottie's gonna win it over Rudy Gobert?
So it's a narrative thing.
I don't think either one of them should.
No, because you don't get to see Scottie's brilliance. Like sometimes Scottie don't have to block a shot or get a steal for him to be playing great defense. You don't get to see it a lot of times because, like I'm saying, if you allow Scottie to be aggressive and physical with these physical players, Scottie Barnes will win that matchup. I think he will.
I've seen Scottie lock up Tyrese Maxey and Joel Embiid. Like,
what's the
not a good job on Joel Embiid, but you know,
like if you think about
Scottie be aggressive with Joel Embiid.
So Penn, to your point, and you know, you're a numbers guy. I hate going over numbers like that, but I think Minnesota. I'm looking at it right now. Minnesota's 7th in the league in defense. Toronto is 6th in the league in defense. So there's not really that much of a gap. That's number one. Number two,
because the Wolves defense falls off when he's not on the court.
That's where I was going, Mars. So when Rudy goes off the court, I mean, they literally fall off a cliff. Like, how much different are the Toronto Raptors?
That's scheme related too, isn't it?
Right. And I think that's what we're talking about when we're talking about that defense. It's tailored just like an offensive player, just like an offensive player like Joker, for example. That offense is constructed around Joker's skill set. Well, that defense in Minnesota is constructed around Rudy, which would explain why when he comes off the floor, they go the other way.
I would argue that defense is okay. Sure, I understand what you're saying. The defense is structured around rim protection, so their scheme is structured around having a 7-footer there, and he doesn't have a viable backup who does anything close to what he does.
Sure.
So if he did, their defense wouldn't fall off a cliff when he went to the bench.
Which means that keep going. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So I'm just saying, like, I think the reason that I think guys like Scottie and Asar and guys like this deserve some credit.
Bam Adebayo. Somebody just brought up Bam Adebayo too.
I actually had him as the defensive player of the year, to be honest with you.
I don't know.
But keep going. As you were saying.
But yeah, like the reason that these guys deserve some love here is because they are quarterbacking a defense, right? And that goes beyond just simply being on the court and elevating the defense. It also talks about, you know, structuring the team identity around defense. It talks about, you know, guiding guys off, even when you're in the huddle, guiding guys to focus on defense. I think that sort of defensive quarterback element has to be there. Like that quarterback, you know, the guy who gets everybody focused on the defensive end, the guy who gets the team's identity focused on defense, the guy who brings that sort of toughness defensively, who makes big plays defensively. I think that has to matter for much more than on-off splits, because on-off splits are always going to be reliant heavily on who your backup is. That's going to have to matter a lot. So.
Yeah, for sure. But my point still is I feel like you see the brilliance of defenders like Asar, Scottie, even Bam. Like, you would just see the brilliance of them if you let them be more physical. They shutting a lot of people water.
Offensive players too when they get to overcome it.
Like, yeah, and I'm good with that. Yeah. But that's how the game should be, though.
Wait, what do you mean, Mars? The offensive players.
It means more as an offensive player if you're overcoming more adversity.
Yes.
Like that's like I don't want to disrespect any players who are having like breakout seasons.
Sure.
I'm not going to say names, but like there are people box score wise who are having statistical seasons that make them look like all-time greats.
Right.
And they're not. Like we know they're not. But like if you were able to ramp up the defensive physicality and you were able to,
it would be undeniable.
Empower defenders, you'll see that it's truly the elite of the elite who can overcome that. It will be the prime Steph Currys, the James Hardens, the LeBron James, the Kawhi Leonards. It's not going to be this. Oh, shout out to this young up and coming player who's averaging 26 right now. Oh yeah, that's probably not going to happen if you're actually allowed to physically impose yourself defensively and you're laterally quicker. I'm stronger than you. I can bump you off your spot, as opposed to I've got a guard and keep my hands like this at all times. Even then, you can still lower your shoulder into me and it's still a foul, even though I'm defending like this. Like,
why should I have to do that with a rookie? Chill. Why should I have to do that with a rookie? With a rookie that just got in the NBA, I gotta guard him like he fucking Kobe Bryant. Like he.
You shouldn't have to do that. No, like, but to Mars's point,
rookies used to struggle coming in scoring. Motherfucking rookies come in and score 40, 50.
Yeah, well, Con Nipple just like that. I don't know what to tell you.
No, he's a baller.
Let me be physical with Con.
Wouldn't that? But Mars, to play the devil's advocate, wouldn't that compound? Wouldn't your point compound the logic of earlier basketball being better? Because I did have to play through that physicality, and I was able to average 24. I was able to average 28. I was able to average 30 a game playing through that physicality, as opposed to today, where I don't have to play through that nearly as much.
It was harder for offensive players to thrive back then.
Yeah,
based on analytics, based on the defense, pressure, all of that stuff, spacing. I think it's harder for offensive players to thrive. That doesn't mean I think all of the offensive players back then are better than the ones today.
No, I'm not saying that.
But it definitely does. Like, it's definitely a harder environment to thrive in, I think. I do think some of that physicality stuff from certain areas is hype, but I do think it's more physical than what I'm seeing today, in terms of what the refs allow and what they don't allow. But it's harder. Like, you throw guys today, back then, it would be a different environment for them to still thrive in. I have no doubts that all of them would still be great. I'm not saying throw X player back, they're going to be bad, but it's different and you have to adjust. The same way those guys would have to adjust to a league with a 3-point line, and maybe you can't take this one dribble, pull up and shoot from 22 feet. Instead, you might have to shoot the up fake and step to the side instead of the step in. Like, there's different adjustments you have to make, and that's what makes each era different and unique. But it's still an adjustment.
Mars, one of the things I remember the time that Denny Avdia was a good defender. Do you remember? Those wonderful
the good old days. Yeah,
you remember the time when Jalen Johnson was an up and coming two-way player?
Yeah, for what it's worth, the last week or so he's been playing defense. I got my eyes on you, Jalen Johnson. I got my eyes on you.
Another
I heard you.
Your offensive load being high, responsibilities being high, shot creation, dribbles, bringing the ball up the court, all this stuff. It's going to drain you a little bit in terms of the amount of effort you can put on the defensive end. So I do feel like a lot of guys like Rudy Gobert, who don't have a lot of responsibilities offensively, let's just be real, I do think they have an easier job, if I'm being honest, right?
Yeah, I feel you, Penn. Rudy and Scotty, they both have it easy on the offensive end, so they really can. However,
hey Ron, I was about to say this though.
Tell me you didn't watch that first Philly game without telling me you didn't watch that first Philly game.
I watched the Philly game last night.
I watched the second Philly game.
Ron, can we at least
first the worst, second the best? What's up?
How do y'all feel about this? Can we take out the defensive 3 seconds rule? Like, why the fuck can I sit in the paint for 3 seconds?
I've been advocating for that for a while.
Like,
as well.
I don't get, why do you need to take me out of the paint? I want to stand here.
No. Wait. Once again, we're talking about offense. I do get that part. The where it gets tricky for me is we got a defensive 3-second rule, but we can play zone. That doesn't make any sense. That's where I get thrown.
You shouldn't tell me how I need to play defense.
I can't. Well, wait a minute. If we're playing man to man, you can clean the whole left side of the floor out. Well, what's the difference between that and me standing in the lane when we're playing zone? Like, it sounds like it's both ways.
To me, I don't.
That's where I get.
First of all, I wouldn't give a shit if the offensive team sat they big in the paint for 15. Why would I care? Like, okay, great, but you don't need to tell me how I can play. You mean to tell me I gotta move my big every 3 seconds and somebody get the cut in the lane? What the hell? Why?
Yeah, and you see, like, and this is what I mean when I say offensive players like are adjusting and it's become hard. Like, the amount of times you see the bigs doing their little toe tap thing so they can
and they don't even be counting 3 seconds. They just do it every.
Yeah. I mean, shout out to Joel Embiid. Joel Embiid gets to camp in the lane for like 8 seconds. He doesn't leave. But like, you see them do the little toe tap thing, and you'll see like offensive players on the other side of the court. They'll just time their drive to when the big has to tap out, and now they got a free run to the rim. Like, just remove the 3 seconds. If you can't score on a team that parks that big in the lane, your team just can't shoot. That's a problem. I don't know.
That's it.
Like,
that's how they're playing in Europe.
That shouldn't be a successful strategy. If a team could just park that big in the lane the whole time and you're scoring 80 points, your offense has problems. Like, I don't know what to tell you. Your offense has major.
That's how it is in Europe.
That needs
to be fixed.
I have no problem with defense at 3 seconds.
In Europe, that big sit there chill and eat that shit up. They'll put the biggest Serbian out there too. They'll put motherfucker 7-1 right there. Tavares has been
Walter Tavares.
They bring back defense at 3 seconds. What's that 7-7 kid playing for Florida who don't really play for him?
Oh, I know
7-9.
He might be a first round pick.
7-9.
He might be a first round pick.
Yeah, bro. I don't get why I can't
first
see the
round
paint
pick.
though. You'll see more mid-range shots too though if they did.
Absolutely, because
And
you
that's
have to.
why I'm
You have no
saying like
choice, yeah.
this game need to quit being computerized. Like let's go back to what it was. I don't understand why you can't play zone. I didn't get that rule back then either. That no zone shit. Why are you telling me how to play defense? I figured out how I can stop somebody.
Teams couldn't shoot, so you know.
Ron, what's old boy that play for who played for Real Madrid or played for Barcelona? Trip off. I think you're Frenchie.
You talking about Tavares? You talking about Tavares?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, the big dude.
I like
I'm agreeing with Europe too. That shit rolling around on the rim, smack that shit off the rim. I'm not gotta wait for that. I'm not waiting for that.
I don't agree with that, but
Mars, it doesn't happen.
I don't get the point of that.
It's the panel. Religion get built on cam. Where the check throw smoke and the host go ham. You ain't never seen hoops out here did raw. Every take got weight, every night we drop. This that barbershop. Courtside, worldwide tone. Welcome to the only show that really feel like numbers jumping like the score.